Next, we are moving on to derivation of element stiffness matrix and equations. Element stiffness matrix can be derived using various methods such as direct equilibrium method, work or energy methods, methods of weighted residual. In this course, we will be dealing with direct equilibrium method only. So, what is the stiffness matrix? For an element, a stiffness matrix is a matrix such as F is equal to KD, where F represents a matrix of nodal forces and D represents nodal displacement. For example, if we have a simple two nodal element like this, this is node 1 and node 2. So, this is a simple two nodal element. Let if F1 and F2 are forces acting on node 1 and node 2. Node 1 force is F1 and node 2 the force acting is F2. Similarly, displacements at node 1 and node 2 are D1 and D2. This is the D1. This is the displacement at node 1 and D2 is the displacement at node 2. In that case, F and D will be 2 by 1 matrix. In that case, we have only two nodes. Then this F3, F4, etc. Fn, all those terms will be 0 because we only have F1 and F2. Similarly, on the right hand side, we only have D1 and D2. So, we will have a 2 by 1 vector in the place of F. And stiffness matrix, this is a stiffness matrix, element stiffness matrix, that will be a 2 by 2 matrix. All terms from K13 will be 0. All these terms, these rows, and only these four terms will be there for the element stiffness matrix K11, K12, K21 and K22. Similarly, here we only have D1 and D2. On the other hand, if we consider a element with we have seen earlier a quadratic element. Quadratic element will have three nodes, 1, 2 and 3. In the case of a three noded element, we will have forces at F1, forces will be F1, F2 and F3. These are the nodal forces. Similarly, displacement will be D1, D2 and D3. So, we will have F1, F2, F3. Right hand side we will have D1, D2, D3 and this many elements will be there for the element stiffness matrix. So, the stiffness matrix is basically or stiffness matrix, these equations are basically equations which shows a relationship between nodal force and nodal displacement. Now, let me illustrate the derivation of the element stiffness matrix for a one-dimensional element. So, directly we are going to the derivation for a one-dimensional element. These things we will discuss later. So, here we are formulating the stiffness matrix for a one-dimensional element. Consider a simplest one-dimensional element as shown in the figure. Okay, let x cap, y cap, z cap represent the local coordinate system. Here we have x cap along the direction of the axis of the element, then perpendicular to x cap we have y cap and z cap. This x cap, y cap, z cap represent local coordinate system. So, local coordinate systems are coordinate system attached with an element. We have a global coordinate system x, y, z. So, should be considered like this. For example, if you have a truss, so this is a truss. So, these are the members of the truss. So, now we have a global coordinate system. We can define a global coordinate system for this truss like x, y. So, this is the global coordinate system for this truss. Similarly, if we consider a single element, for example, this element, similar to this element, so we will have a local we have to define a local coordinate system for this element. So here we will select the local coordinate system. I will use a different color. So this is x cap, and along the direction we have. So along the direction of the element we will select x cap, and perpendicular to that we will select a coordinate system y cap. So this represents a local coordinate system, while this represents a global coordinate system for that entire frame. So here this x cap, y cap, z cap represent local coordinate system. So this is global. So we are going to the derivation of the stiffness matrix for a linear elastic constant cross sectional area bar element. So this is a linear element. So we will have only two nodes. So we have node 1 and node 2. The bar element has a constant cross sectional area. So we will have a constant cross sectional area A, then modulus of elasticity, which is constant throughout the entire element, so that is E, and initial length of the element is capital L. Then nodal degrees of freedom are local axial displacements represented as d1x cap and d2x cap. So d1x cap represent displacement at node 1. So this is a node 1, or the node 1 displacement is d1x, and the node 2 displacement is d2x. So d1x cap and d2x cap. So this cap represent it is referring to the local coordinate system. Similarly, we have f1x and f2x, which represent nodal forces. Forces acting on node 1 is represented as f1x cap, and force acting on the node 2 is represented as f2x cap. So as we seen earlier, the first step involved for any finite element formulation is selection of the element types. So here we have already selected a simple linear element. So we will have in the earlier case you can see that we have already selected a linear element. We have two nodes, that length of the element is L, and d1x, d2x represent the nodal displacement, f1x cap, f2x cap represent the nodal forces. So the second step involves selection of the displacement function. So this we have seen earlier. So assume a linear element variation, linear displacement variation along x axis of the bar. So since we have a linear element and there are only two nodes for our element, so this is our element. We have a node 1 and node 2. So since there are two nodes, I have told earlier that if there are n nodes, the order of the displacement function will be n minus 1. So since here we have two nodes, displacement function will be usually a first degree polynomial. So we can represent it as u cap is equal to a1 plus a2 x cap. So the same thing we can represent in matrix form. Now we have to represent u cap as a function of nodal displacement d1x and d2x. In order to do that, first you will see at node 1 we have x cap equal to 0 and displacement u is equal to d1x. So instead of the earlier function, we have u cap equal to a1 plus a2 x cap. In this function, instead of x cap, we will give 0. So we will get displacement at the first node, that is displacement at point x equal to 0, that is u cap equal to u cap of 0 equal to a1 plus a2 into 0. So that we have already know that the displacement at node 1 is d1 x cap. So we can see that a1 equal to d1 x cap. So we got our one of our constants in this expression, that is a1 equal to d1x. Similarly, if we substitute L instead of x cap, we will get u cap L is equal to a1 plus a2 into L, So we know that at distance L from the origin of the local coordinate system, we have a displacement d2x, that is a displacement at the second node. So d2x, a1 plus a2l is equal to d2x. So a2 is equal to d2x minus d1x divided by L. So this a1 and a2 we can substitute in the earlier expression for u cap. So u cap equal to d1x cap plus d2x cap minus d1x cap divided by L into x cap. So this we can rearrange like this. So we have 1 minus x cap by L into d1x plus x cap by L into d2x. So this is the expression for displacement in case of a linear two-noded element. So you have to keep in mind this expression. So this is for a linear two-noded element. So from the earlier expression, we got displacement function as u cap equal to 1 minus s cap by L into d1x plus x cap by L into d2x cap. So this is our expression for the displacement function. Same expression can be represented in matrix form like this. We have a raw matrix, 1 by 2 matrix, 1 minus x cap by L, x cap by L. Similarly, you have a column vector d1x and d2x. Can be extended to any number of nodes also. The same similar expression can be made. So this matrix, this n1 and n2 represent, n1 represent 1 minus x cap by L and n2 represent s cap by L. This n1 and 2 are called shape functions. So if we plot the displacement along the length of the element, we have a displacement at node 1 is d1x and displacement at node 2 is d2x. This is a typical distribution. So there is a linear as we assumed in the functional form, there is a linear variation in the displacement along the length of the element. Similarly, if we plot the shape functions, we can see that shape function n1, this 1 minus x cap by L, its maximum value is 1 and that happens at node 1. As we move along the element to node 2, we can see that value of shape function n1 gradually reduces, linearly reduces and becomes 0 at the node 2. Similarly, if we consider the shape function n2, that is equal to x by L, its initial value, that is at node 1, its value is 0 and it linearly increases and becomes its maximum value, which is 1, that happens at node 2.